Welcome to Hope Scope. Let me turn it off. I was supposed to like come in jamming.
1, 2, 3, 4, get my shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great.
What we're talking about today is related to how to travel with a health condition. So the first thing I want you to realize is that you cannot let your health condition stop you. A lot of people have these dreams, these desires, and sometimes they allow these things to just like end them. So like for me, I love to travel, and I could very easily allow for my diabetes to stop me. While it would not be as drastic as it may be for other people living with other health conditions, it is still something that could stop me. If you don't know much about diabetes, just to put it simply, some days are horrible. You feel like crap, you don't want to do anything, and it would be easier just to stay in bed some days. And there are days that are that way. But even if you have another kind of health condition and you just simply want to go across the country to fly, but you've been told you can't do this, you can't do that, and you know that maybe you have special needs related to food or what have you, like you've got to realize that there's a way around it, and maybe you can't leave the country or do something crazy like that, but there are ways where you can feel free. So the first thing you got to do is realize that it's not going to stop you, and it doesn't have to stop you. Secondly, you have to remind yourself, just like myself, living with diabetes, that your label, whatever that might be, even if it's just something like asthma can limit your life in certain ways. Like it really can, and you can easily like try out for a sport and things not go smoothly, and you'll be like, it's because I have asthma, or I can't run track because I have asthma, or I have sports-induced asthma, and you can't do that. You can't allow it to dictate your life. One thing I will say is if it's something that could be reduced or controlled through lifestyle, you just have to have a change in mindset. And so this was not planned, but I figured I would show you. So like for me, I support things like this is American Diabetes Association, and they're all about finding a cure, doing things that help people that are living with the condition right here, right now, today. They form communities, they're super supportive, and you can see that they say stop diabetes. And I'm telling you, I know this sounds like a super roundabout way to get to the topic, but I'm telling you this because while there's a long way for a cure to be found for specifically type 1s and even for type 2s to when they become dependent on insulin, you can still live your life with the disease. It doesn't have you, like you're in control. And while this shirt is really cool and it's saying stop diabetes, control it, let's do this, like whether it stops or not, you can do the things that you love. I want to emphasize that because the next point related to traveling with a health condition is relevant to this because you don't know what the future holds. You don't know what's in store for you, but you're not going to stop. You're going to keep going, and you can be supportive. You can donate to things that could help alleviate the health condition that you have. You can support those kind of campaigns, but I want you to have a positive outlook and realize that you've got this. That's it. It's super simple. And okay, the biggest one, and this is what most of you would be here for, is that you simply must know the facts. I say this because a lot of times, and I just use myself as an example, when you travel, you hit a lot of walls, a lot of roadblocks, and a lot of difficulties because that's just life. So people that have diabetes, specifically type 1, who have pumps and CGMs and syringes and juice boxes, like they have such a hard time. And traveling, specifically like flying, I can't tell you how difficult it has been in the past. And even just getting a vial of insulin through the security is like a nightmare sometimes. And so you have to stand firm and you have to know your facts and be like, dude, like I need this. This is my life and I can't, no. So just like knowing your facts and being like, actually, you know, this is my lifeline. Like this is how I survive and I'm allowed to do ABC. Super big deal because I know that when I put my foot down whenever I'm traveling, they listen. And they should, because it's a serious thing. And this is where kind of answering the question, like, is diabetes hard to live with? It's not, because I've learned to not just, like, let it control my life, but I literally just live my life how I want to with diabetes. So I have learned how to have a completely normal life, and while traveling can be super challenging when having a health condition, especially a chronic one like diabetes, it doesn't have to be, because like for me, it's become so much easier because I've learned how to control it. So I can now, I have insulin still, I still have syringes, but like if something were to happen, like it would be a lot easier to manage because I am not doing things that would actually limit me even more, if that makes sense. For me, that looks like going out to eat with my friends, and say we're at the airport and we have a layover and we're going out to eat. I know exactly what will support me so that I can feel like my friend that I'm sitting across. So together we have all this energy and we feel great. So we're prepared for our travels in the best way possible. So I know this isn't like super deep, but I'm learning as I interact with more and more people that a lot of people just simply don't know what to do, or they feel out of control, and they want to like conquer things, but they don't know what to do. And like, I'm here to tell you, you have to realize that you do you. You do you first, and it will all be taken care of. I just want you to realize that while you do need to be prepared, obviously, when you travel, like, don't go like, okay, I don't have this condition, I don't need anything. Like, no, don't do that. You can't do that. Like for me, I had to take my insulin and make sure I have enough syringes and test strips and all that fun stuff, my meter, some maybe extra batteries. Like, go prepared, absolutely. But just realize that you gotta know your stuff and know your rights, and you'll be great. But that is probably what I should have mentioned, is like the number one rule is be prepared. Because the worst thing that could happen is you not be prepared with everything that you need, and having to go like to a local pharmacy, having insurance problems, having to pay out of pocket, this, that, and another. And so starting with being prepared, the rest of your travel endeavors can go super smoothly and you can be super successful. So the first thing you can do is to make a checklist of your supplies. So for people with diabetes, that can include making sure you're taking enough test strips, your meter, you have maybe a backup meter, some backup batteries, syringes, things of that sort. And then you want to see like, okay, do I need to order more supplies? Am I good? And you make that list, and then as you pack it up to travel, you can check it off. Because I know, I'm trying to think how many times I have actually forgotten supplies when I was traveling. And so you don't want to do that. You don't want to have to worry about having to pay out of pocket because you're going to a different state or even a different country. So make a checklist of your supplies, and then as you pack it, you're good to go, so you do not forget anything. So number 2 is a big one, and I think it's one that people probably don't really want to hear from me, to be honest, but I'm going to tell you that there's a way to do it. So if your health condition is related to food, like for diabetes, our world revolves around carbohydrates. It's life. And while you certainly have control over what types of carbs you eat, how many carbs you eat, like at the end of the day, we can't look at a piece of food without having numbers all up in our head. It's just how it is. But if you can go prepared, travel with food, like I just finished this up this morning. I meal prepped some food and snack prepped, if you will, food, so that whenever I'm going out and I want to be normal, I want to travel, I want to have fun, but I also want to make sure like I'm not doing more damage than then good, because you can't enjoy your travel time if you're not feeling well. And while you definitely can enjoy eating out and just making wise decisions and still eat those great foods, but you know, if there's a place really well known for their hamburgers, you can have that, just don't eat the bun. Like, no big deal. You can totally do that. At the end of the day, if you're hungry and you're having the munchies, like, go prepare with some food that you can meal prep and pack in your suitcase that won't be perishable or what have you, and you'll be so successful. So super easy, super simple. You want to do this because if you really want to get the most out of your trip, I promise you that just taking a little bit of time to prepare in advance and not cooking a whole meal, baking some chicken and making some soup and crock pots, this, that, and other, like super simple things, and things that honestly, if you look anywhere else on other social medias from me, you can find and learn some snack ideas that you could do. You'll have so much fun and you will be so successful. And you never know, like if something happens and then there's a hiccup in your plans and things don't go as you planned and you weren't eating when you thought you were going to be eating and you're freaking out and having a heart attack, like, dude, it's cool. You're prepared. That is honestly probably my biggest one, and people sometimes make fun of me, but I can tell you this much. Whenever I travel and whenever I'm hanging out with friends and whenever I'm doing things, I feel normal and I am feeling 100% like who I'm supposed to be, having this life that I know that I'm meant for and living up to my potential, so it's worth it. So that is probably my biggest tip. Lastly, for related to like medical supplies or what have you, this kind of was related to point one, but always having a backup plan. I take shots and I take minimal insulin, so like I don't have a lot that I actually need. But if you're on a pump or if you have any kind of health condition that requires a device, and you know, like technology can fail us, you need to have a backup plan. And again, this is so that you don't have to go making phone calls, running around, having a heart attack, worrying about finances and ruining your trip, because you're going to be prepared. All you have to do is make a checklist of your supplies and then check it off as you pack it, to go prepared with food if it's a food related thing. And honestly, at the end of the day, no matter what you do each and every day, this is going to bring you the most success and allow you to be the happiest, healthiest version of you possible. And then lastly, have a backup plan. And I guess I should have one more, and that's to have fun. Don't let your condition limit you. That's it. Super simple.